Okay, so you would have noticed he's around, right? And I've worked with a lot of video producers and photographers. And one of the things that's really actually difficult to do is to galvanise an entire room and get them to do things and still be behind the scenes and not push yourself forward. It's actually a very subtle skill, and you do it really, really well, Didier. Can I just have a guess? How old do you reckon this young man is? Any? 24, 43? He's 21. Let's give a round of applause for this 21-year-old amazing young man. And he started Fixon Media Group at 18. So we're going to have a little bit of a chat about you, because there's actually a media partner as well for the event. How did you get started with Fixon Media Group? Where did you begin this?
It definitely wasn't something I came into knowing I wanted to do film and video. Originally, at 14 was when I had my first real ambition of what I wanted to do when I got older, and that was to be a professional footballer, soccer, goalkeeper for Manchester United. And
where's Gary?
Yeah. And so I set myself that target, and I said I'm going to go all out. The way I do things is, if you're going to do something, you go full out with it, 100%, and you don't hold back. So that was what I did. So 6 days a week for 4 years, something like that. I was training gym, track, on the field, individual sessions, specialist sessions, etc. And that was the ambition. That was my life. And during COVID, obviously everything stopped. No games, no training with the team anyway. So I continued by myself. And I got injured during COVID. In hindsight, it wasn't a bad injury. It just got misdiagnosed 3 times. And so I was prescribed a recovery plan, which made the actual injury worse. And the next one came up, made that worse again. And so in the end, it was just a severe case of shin splints, which is a really simple thing to get rid of in 6-7 weeks. But it was misdiagnosed as a torn tendon, torn ligaments, and compartment syndrome, and it went on and went on. So 6-7 months went down the line, and I said, well, I don't really have much motivation anymore to proceed with playing football. Hadn't touched the ball for 6 months. And so I was entering year 12 at that stage, and I thought to myself, I'm not going to force myself into thinking about anything just yet. Let's sit back for 6 months and just see where things end up. And at that time, I'd been working at a pizza shop part-time, and the boss there, Michael, he had one step in the film industry as well. And over the years, I picked up a little baby camcorder, $200 at Harvey Norman, and we used that to film my games. And I would create little highlight videos of my performances, send that off to coaches, and really market myself as a goalkeeper. And so that was kind of the start of my journey with cameras, I suppose. And over those years, and in that 6-month period in particular, where I was trying to figure out what am I going to do, it kind of just led me in that direction. And Michael was a great mentor in that sense. And here we are, 3 and a bit years later.
And how does it feel to give away the football dream?
There's moments where I think back and I'm like, geez, I would love to be doing that. And especially when I see mates who are still playing, and I go watch them occasionally, and you get the occasional feelings, I want to be out there as well. But at the same time, everything happens for a reason. I think what happened, and now we're in a new chapter, and I love what I do. So yeah, can't complain.
Yeah, well done. A great attitude to resilience, right? And yeah, round of applause. Thank you, Vanessa. I feel like we're meeting the Steven Spielberg of the future here. You know, like he had a camera at about 12. He did all the stuff that you're doing. You know, that passion for film, it starts early. And you've got to really love it. Like I know a lot of film directors obviously have been in the acting game for a while. And they all talk about, you got to do it. It's not about the money. It's not about, you know, the fame. They just got to do it. And I just feel that work ethic in you as well. So talk to us about how you find clients. We're going to talk about how to video market as well, because that's obviously why you're here and why you want to listen. But what do you do to promote yourself? Because as a young man and trying to break into this industry, it's quite difficult. There's a lot of established photographers and videographers. How did you do that?
LinkedIn's been phenomenal for me, particularly the past 12, 18, 24 months to a lesser degree. I got connected to a guy called Steve Dart up on the Gold Coast, and it was via a mutual friend. He's a LinkedIn specialist, and this mutual friend said to me, "You've got to reach out to him. He's fantastic." So I've put the investment down to do a course with him and really learn the ins and outs of LinkedIn. And it's interesting because we were speaking about LinkedIn yesterday during one of the sessions, or this morning maybe, and just how powerful it is. And there's so many people on LinkedIn, and if you do it right, you create the content and you speak. You're not out there to sell yourself. You don't want to push. You don't want to push all the time. But if you're out there and you give real value to people about what you share on that platform, it does come back. It doesn't come back initially straight away, but 6 months down the line, 12 months down the line, you start nurturing people without realizing it. And when they need to reach out for in my case, video, they reach out, and that's why it's been so fantastic for me.
Yeah, well done. Who here uses LinkedIn, just generally, just LinkedIn? Okay, keep your hand up if you publish on LinkedIn. Okay, you know what's really interesting is most people don't publish. And by that I mean post articles and things like that. We all lurk, right? We all read it. We all consume it, but a very, very small percentage of people post. So just, you're an example of you post, right? And it gets rewards. It takes time, but if you do it elegantly and respectfully, you know, it works. So talk to us about video marketing. I talked about Mr. Beast at the beginning. You're not there yet, but you might, right? What would you recommend to people who run a small business? How can they best use video marketing?
As I just touched on there, people don't like being pitched to. We all hate it. We see too many advertisements. The average is 50 to 400 a day across the globe, a very wide average, but a significant one at that. And with video, you don't want to be out there pushing. Just share, provide value. It's simple to say on the surface level, but if you're not out there providing that value, people don't want to listen to it. People don't go out there and willingly listen to a business talk about themselves. I don't do it. No one in this room does it. You don't do it yourself, Bernadette. But if you're able to create something that's a little bit relatable for them, that gives them a little bit of an intrigue, perhaps there's a sense of deja vu, or you flip that and it's more educational and you're providing that genuine value to people, that's when they will watch it. That's when they'll consume it, whether it be 60 seconds or 10 minutes plus in duration. They'll sit there and consume it if you're providing that genuine value.
You talked, when we did our sort of pre-interview, you talked about some frameworks that you can use to create your own video content. Can you share with us what that is?
Yes, I'll provide a bit of context to that as well. So 18 months ago, I was looking at why do I relate to certain videos more than I do other videos, and why do I get engaged with certain videos and not others? And so I analysed the top brands out there: Apple, Nike, Reebok, Adidas, the list can go on. It was probably over 50 different brands I looked at. And I thought, why do I look at these videos and not the others? And I went through, took my notes, and then at the end of it, I came up with a little bit of a framework, 4-step framework I call it, the brand film framework. And what that involves is there's 4 different questions you need to ask yourself as the business owner. First and foremost, what is the true product or service that you sell? Because
what is the what, sorry?
The true product or service that you sell.
True product or service?
Yeah. So the top brands, they aren't out here sticking on the surface level. So I'll give an example, again, very generalised, but just to let it go home. Qantas as an airline, they don't sell a ticket from point A to point B. What they're selling, if we go a little bit deeper, is the ability to connect people, connect families, no matter the distance, no matter the circumstance, no matter the outcome that is going to happen, they'll make it happen. And we can
most of the time.
Most of the time, yes. We can go a little bit deeper as well with that, of course, but you can already see that's already one step further down from just staying on that surface level. Yeah. From there, every product or service has an impact on customers. So what are those impacts for your business? What is it individualized to your business that truly impacts your customers? So that's that second step. The third step of the framework are the emotions that are associated with that. And for me, the emotions is the core of what I do with my work, and for the clients that we work with, is focusing on those emotions, because as I touched on there, you don't want to sell to people, so then how do you hook people in? You've got to engage with them emotions. You've got to connect with them really, really deep within their body. And so you lean into those emotions. So the 2 questions to ask there are, how do they feel before experiencing your product or service and the impacts that are associated with that? And then after, how do they feel once they've experienced it and they've had that success? If we look at some of those generalized emotions, beforehand they're probably feeling a bit guilty, upset, angry, lonely in some circumstances. And then on the flip side of things, when that success comes through, they're going to be over the moon, they're going to be happy, joyful, elated. There's probably going to be a lot of hope for the future. So these emotions, albeit general in the sense that we're talking about at the moment, you can lean into them and bring them up through the videos that you create to start engaging and connecting a bit more. And then finally, the last step there, the fourth step of the framework, is your core values and beliefs. And this is where you can really separate yourself from competitors within your industry. We've each all got our own core values and beliefs. Even with people that we're friendly with, we might share similar, but there's still a degree of uniqueness within that. So lean into those. And if you can slowly bring those to the surface in what you communicate to your customers through video, that's how you can start connecting with the true customers that you want to connect with, because those customers are going to be the best customers. They're the ones that hold the same core values and beliefs.
Yeah, great. I don't know who's got children here, but my son watches YouTube endlessly. It is the #1 platform for the youth. And if your customers coming up through the pipeline are young and they're moving into decision-making roles, chances are they're going to be on YouTube. So it does behove yourself to make video content, right? So just if you're doing it on LinkedIn, what kind of length would you recommend as a general rule for a LinkedIn video?
Yeah, for LinkedIn, 2 minutes as a maximum, and produce it in a vertical format. LinkedIn's just rolled out a new video feed, very similar to what you see on Instagram and TikTok, where it's just video-centric. And that's been going crazy the past 12 months. Very, very fresh initiative. So yeah, 2 minutes maximum. If you can keep it under 60, that's more ideal. Again, short, sharp, bring value straight away. Don't introduce yourself for 15 seconds and lose any sort of engagement you could have had. Go straight into it with the value, be upfront and see what comes as a result.
Yeah. So one of the things, obviously I'm a copywriter. I don't know if that came out through the intros, but I've been a copywriter for 30 years. I train copywriters and getting to the points quickly, but just a quick tip on how you could create your own content is to think about your audience, your target audience, like just pick one person that you know you want to be in front of. You think about their problems. You think about what questions do they ask you all the time. So think about the FAQs, as I call them. Make 20 questions, and then you answer them. And write this all down, just in a Word doc, and then answer them really, really quickly and say, hi, my name's so-and-so from Strata Management. The problem that my audiences have all the time, or the problem that owners have is ... And then you answer it. So you sort of set up the problem, the answer. But if you use that little format of question answer, that's how people think is, I've got a problem, how do I fix it? And if you do that in 60 seconds, you could come up with 20 different videos and just roll them out once a week. What's your cadence for giving out content?
Yeah, just before cadence, I'll just add to that as well. Talk about getting that initial hook straight away. Save yourself 5 seconds instead of framing what the question is that you're going to answer. Just write that as a piece of text on the screen and just get straight into the answer.
Nice.
Straight away, just bang into it. Save yourself 5 seconds, but you're still giving context as to what you're actually talking about. And then back to your question around cadence. The most sustainable answer is, what can you be frequent with? If you can only do once every 2 weeks, if you can only do once a week, then stick with that, because routine and consistency is going to trump any sort of inconsistency. So if you're doing it 3 times 1 week, the next week you do 7 and then drop to 1 the following, the platform's like, what's going on? It doesn't matter if it's LinkedIn or Instagram, whatever, they can't get an idea of what it is that you're doing. So if you can be consistent once a week, twice a week, whatever it is for you, that'll give you the best success going forward. And then once you've built up the habit, you built those foundations, then look to increase that cadence, go to 3, go to 4, et cetera, et cetera.
Cadence, do you mean the algorithm understands what you're doing?
Just regularity.
Yeah, so
frequency.
Cadence, frequency of how many posts you do per week.
And when you said it uses the platform, does that mean it uses the algorithm that's working in your favour to put you out in front of people that have clicked or whatever on you once or twice?
Yeah, correct. So the algorithms of any platform, they're looking for regularity, and they want to be able to predict your behavior so that they can easily provide your content to their users. So if you're being irregular in your consistency, they will flag that as being a bad thing, and they'll prioritize someone else who's more consistent than you and more regular than what you are.
Makes sense, doesn't it? Because they want regularity, because they want to reward regularity because it means you're using the platform more and more. Just talk to me about your editing process. Like, obviously you're a professional and people may use you, and we hope they do, but if they want to do it themselves, what's your sort of hacks for doing quick editing and captions and things like that?
There's some really good free software, both on mobile phones and on laptops that you can get. So on a phone, CapCut is one of the best ones out there by far. CapCut, C-A-P-C-U-T. Yeah, really, really strong platform. Within there, they've got a lot of AI tools. So we spoke about AI a little bit during this conference. You can generate captions through the application, so you don't have to write out each individual word. So that's a great platform from the phone, and that's probably the best starting point for most people, is just whip out your phone, film on your phone, and then you just can edit on your phone as well. You don't have to upload somewhere else and bring it back. On the laptop side of things, DaVinci is a very professional level software, but they also have a free version, just a little bit dialed down. So that's a great one. And iMovie, for anyone with a Mac, iMovie is a fantastic software as well.
Just on ChatGPT, I use it a lot and I absolutely love it, and I highly recommend you try and get on it, because it is here and it is a game changer. You know, in my world, copywriting, we were one of the first industries to be challenged, and even my business partner who I work with, she rang me, she said, my world is just tilted on its axis. And it got really messy for a while. People are like, I'm never going to use a copywriter again. I don't need to. And then, of course, things settle down, and, of course, people are still using copywriters. But they use copywriters who use AI. And so just one of the things I'd recommend, if you're going to create content, just as I was talking before, like Q&A, you don't need to write it yourself. Okay, if you use chat, obviously it's free, but you can use a paid version. I highly recommend the $20 a month American, get your paid version. Claude is also amazing. But what you can do is you can just train it to be an expert on strata management. You say, you are a strata management expert. You know everything about these laws, this legislation, these arrangements, whatever you want to input, upload it, any document you can, and you train it to be a strata management expert. And then you say, you are an expert strata management copywriting expert. I want you to answer these questions. So you upload your 20 questions, and then you let it answer it. And then you say, great, love it, great response. Now I want you to make it 60 seconds worth. And it will cut it down. And then you say, I want you to speak like me. Let me upload some of my own content. So it might be some blogs that you've written, a bit of video content that has your voice. And say, write it like me. So after a few iterations, it starts to get to know you. And you can have this stuff done, and I'm talking 5 minutes, literally. And then you just read it as naturally as you possibly can. Another great, I don't know if you use Descript. It's an editing platform. It is ridiculously fantastic. All the big course creators that I know use Descript. I won't go into why. It's just look it up. It's amazing. We've come to the end of our time. But do you have a question for Didier at all? Anyone? You're all bamboozled. Craig.
How's your business growing?
It's doing very well, Craig. Yeah, the past 12 months, I've really started to understand more about business, and as a result, things have started to exponentially grow, which is fantastic, and very fortunate to have a wide number of clients across different industries and come to events interstate like this and other states. So yeah, very, very grateful, very happy, and yeah, things are going very well.
And tell us about the store gift.
Yes, so got a documentary premiering later this month, and it'll also be on Fox Sports in due course as well, around the store gift. So hands up if you know the store gifts. Yeah, perfect, fantastic. So the pro running, the past 2 years I've been involved with the Victorian Athletic League, who run all the events. And last season, one of the coaches from Queensland, Brett Robinson, came up to mid-season and he said, Didier, we've got 2 real chances this year of winning the gift. If even one of them gets up, we'll be creating history, becoming the only squad that's ever won 6 store gifts. The record prior was 5. If we do it, can you produce a documentary on it? And I said, sure, let's do it. And you touched on before, you just got to do it. There was no real budget for this. It was very, very low budget. And I said, look, I'll do it just for the opportunity to produce something like that. And so the season went on, a store came around, bucketed down with rain on Easter Monday. It's dreadful. And they got up with one of the wins, Chloe Makes Power, in the women's. And so we left there Easter Monday and we said, right, let's do it. Flew up to the Gold Coast, filmed interviews and B-roll and what forth. And here we are almost around Easter time again. And yeah, documentary's coming out later this month.
Wow. Let's give it up for this amazing young man. Well done, Didier. Thank you so much. Good job.